To listen first.
And black American people, can y'all please stop talking about what the white man is doing to hold y'all down? I got friends who couldn't afford tissue growing up, so they used to go in the bush and use a leaf to wipe their doo-doo, their shit. Where are they from? Country, Jamaica. And all of them just bought their girl Benzes this year. Wait, I don't know if all of them was wiping their doo-doo with leaf, but all of them came from nothing and all of them got their girls Benzes this year. And it's not about the Benz or the bags. The point is, life in other countries is harder than it is in America. Immigrants come here and have it harder than you as an American, and they still make it happen. They buy more land than you, and they don't even go here. They're not from here. And you still talk about what got taken from you during slavery? I know Grabaleaf owns a jet. A man that is not from your country owns a jet in your country, and you talking about what the white man did to you still if you don't. And girls, I hate when you say I had to become a stripper, I had to sell pum pum because life was hard. I'm a Jamaican woman. I chose to stand up in the hot sun and sell water to get capital to start my business. Because I can go back home and see what real hard life is. So I'm grateful for every opportunity I have.
So I think what we have is a cultural difference. That's all this is. She said she's from Jamaica, right? So I think we have a cultural difference. Ethnic Black Americans and many other ethnicities around the globe. So ethnic Black Americans put equality, equity, and justice over classism. Okay, and so whenever you see Black American people protesting or fighting for justice and equality, a lot of people call that complaining. It's not complaining. Culturally, we consider justice, equality, and equity higher ranking than classism, being at a higher class. Okay? This is why you'll see a lot of wealthy Black Americans protesting or putting themselves on the front lines and going out for justice, equity, and equality. Okay, there's all the way from one of my favorite people, Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass was wealthy. Okay, he still put himself out there. Okay, for everyone else, because that's how Black American culture is. It is not complaining, and it does not mean that we don't have anything. We're used to having things. Contrary to what people know about Black Americans, up north and down south, there were free Black Americans, okay, throughout history, all right? Up north, there were more, okay? They had businesses, they had maids, they had a whole, there was classes of us. All of us were not enslaved, okay? But one of the things that Black American culture, this country is huge. So one of the things that we've always done is, if one of us wasn't free, none of us were. Okay, that's just how it is. So when you see us protesting, or when you see us doing certain things, it doesn't mean that we all don't have something, and we all don't. A car, that's success. A car. A house, a business. We've always had houses, we've always had businesses, and we've always had modes of transportation. So it's when I hear that, because we've always had businesses ever since the time of quote unquote slavery, right? Ever since those days, we've had businesses. I'm not sure what it is. The only reason why immigrants can come here is because of Black America. They didn't want y'all. As y'all can see now. Okay?
You know, when Willie Lynch sees this video, I know he's right now smiling in hell, because what this Jamaican American woman is trying to say is, it has some weaknesses that I think we need to address. And honestly, this is just a full margin ignorance. I'm explain. You come to the United States and starts talking about how Black people are lazy and Black people should stop complaining about, racism, and Black people should Stop saying that white Americans are their problems and they should take responsibility. On the surface, that sounds as a personal responsibility, which is not bad. But there's something that you're missing, and that's it. This is why I'm saying that this is ignorance. There's something that you're missing. You are relating a personal reason to the Black American experience. You see, for you as a person who doesn't know anything about the US, it's making for you easy because that's the same script of meritocratic lie that Black Americans have always been told, that the more you work hard is the more you get. And so you put personal hard work and not seeing these structural problems that are here. Black people are really striving to work hard. And we are seeing Black people in spaces that we never thought that they would be. So I'm nullifying what this Jamaican American woman is trying to say, because she doesn't understand that the system has always been rigged against Black Americans. And different scholars have talked about this. And as an immigrant, she cannot understand that because probably she's getting advantages over Black Americans. Right? And this is what the United States is really good at. They really want this back and forth between Black people. And they're using these scenarios. They're giving you jobs. They're giving you opportunities that they're not giving Black Americans. You're not seeing the systemic things that are happening on the ground. You're just complaining about the personal growth and taking responsibility as an individual. Of course, that would have applied if we would have removed these structural barriers from the equation. But remember, the structural barriers are from the equation. Just ask yourself, right now you're here, you are busy saying that Black people should not complain. Trust me, if Black people didn't complain, you wouldn't have been sitting in that car that you are in the United States. So just think about it and try to reflect and look at history. You will understand what I'm trying to tell you. So brothers and sisters, that was my little rant, and I'll just watch this video and then I'll be back with my commentary. Right.
They didn't want y'all. And I'm just saying, I'm just in the argument. It's just the truth. Okay. If Black America didn't have anything, we wouldn't have had the power to do what we did. You know what I'm saying? Y'all say stuff, y'all come on online, and I'm not sure where you get this from, but I think it's a cultural thing. I think when y'all drop things like, we have businesses, we have houses, we have cars, that's normal for a Black American. We've been had it. We've been had it. But we don't throw classism out there like y'all do. And this is not to start an argument. This is to get an understanding. We don't throw classism out there like y'all do. It's a big difference. And this is factual. I'll put up the clips. You can read it. We don't do that. Okay? Harriet Tubman herself had a house. But she still put herself out there. Because in our culture, equity, justice, and equality is of most importance. Whether I have money or not, we not free unless we all free. And that's why there needs to be more movements. Instead of coming to the United States of America and saying what you got, it doesn't mean anything. And I want you to hear me clearly. It doesn't mean anything because you need to be going back to Jamaica instead of getting online talking about they wiping with leaves. What the flip? Go back there and make sure they don't have to wipe with leaves anymore. That's what you do. It doesn't mean what you're saying, and I really want, this is not an argument. What you're saying is you need to go back there and make sure that they don't have to wipe with leaves anymore. That is what you're supposed to be doing with your quote unquote status that you throw around in America as if Black America cares. We already know who we are and we know why we do what we do. We don't understand. Maybe you can help. What we don't understand is why you aren't doing the same thing in your countries. Because we have been doing all of what you're saying that you have, we been had. All the way back in the 1700s. We been had. We're not complaining when you I've been on protest. I have a house. I have cars. Does it mean just because I have a house and cars that I'm not supposed to protest and I'm not supposed to help my fellow man? Or when y'all see it, it translate, they don't have anything. The HBCUs, the funding and everything else, do you think that this just comes all by itself? And I think that's what y'all thinking, like, go back into the Caribbean and fix that thing. I wouldn't get up online and talk about how, oh, y'all can do it. Y'all like you giving Black America a pep talk. Black America was Black America was helping everybody and still does. Except we resting right now because of stuff like this, because of your videos. Because we see now that the assistance that we gave and the help that our forefathers gave, who are still alive, by the way, y'all spitting on it, and y'all thinking y'all can pep talk us, when in fact we were the ones giving scholarships to people, racially black people around the globe, to come here and go to school. You don't need to pep talk Black America. You see how you just drug your own country? You dragged them through the mud and said how they wipe themselves and they do all this stuff. Go and pep talk them. I would applaud that. But it's not freaking funny that people go through hard times in the United States of America or in Jamaica. But don't bring your pep talking to Black America. Because the only reason why you here is because of Black America. And to just be real about it, the only reason why you even made that video and started talking about what you got and what you got and what you got, it was just to boost your own ego. You don't care nothing about them people in Jamaica nor Black America. You just wanted to shine. Okay? That's all you wanted to do. All that fake junk you doing, talking about some, look what I got, look what I got, look what I got. I had this. You want everybody to know because you ain't used to nothing. And that's the real deal. Why really most of y'all get online and talking about what you got, because you so ain't used to nothing until you want everybody to know. You want everybody to know. I'm gonna let you listen first.
Black American people,
here we go.
Please stop talking about what the white man is doing to hold y'all down. I got friends who couldn't afford tissue growing up, so they used to go in the bush and use a leaf to wipe their doo-doo, their shit.
I can never relate.
Country, Jamaica, and all of them just bought their girl Benzes this year. Wait, I don't know if all of them was wiping their doo-doo with leaf, but all of them came from nothing and all of them got their girls Benzes this year. And it's not about the Benz or the bags. The point is, life in other countries is harder than it is in America. Immigrants come here and have it harder than you as an American, and they still make it happen. They buy more land than you, and they don't even go here.
That's not true.
Here. And you still talk about what got taken from you during slavery?
Girl, shut
I know Grabaleaf owns a jet. A man that is not from your country owns a jet in your country, and you talking about what the white man did to you still if you don't. And girls, I hate when you say I had to become a stripper, I had to sell pum pum because life was hard. I'm a Jamaican woman. I chose to stand up in the hot sun and sell water to get capital to start my business. Because I can go back home and see what real hard life is. So I'm grateful for every opportunity I have in this country. And many of us successful immigrants, we didn't have food stamp Section 8.
First of all, I don't know what in the Nicki Minaj cosplay is going on here, but the Jamaican girls be skin out their pom pom. You gonna sit up here talking about stripping and being a midnight ballerina? Girl, I done been to Jamaica. Y'all is selling cat by the motherfucking pound. Love Jones almost got into an altercation with the Jamaican girls because they thought I was trying to take the tricks, because all of the Euro guys kept coming to me asking me, where you from? What's it? Oh my God, going crazy. And I'm like, I'm not a Jamaican. I guess they thought I was like an exotic Jamaican that could do the American accent. I don't know what they thought, but I was in the bathroom cornered by some Jamaican girl skinning the poom poom out, selling the poom. So don't you ever get up here and talk about her working hard and not having a good, when y'all literally sex tourism is is how y'all be getting it popping on that island. Y'all got resorts called hedonism, where y'all be skinning the pom pom out, doing the orgies, freaking off. The way y'all dance at the carnival, promiscuity is literally embedded in your culture. So don't you ever go there. Let's start there. Second of all, you talking about y'all used to wipe your doodle with the banana leaves. I could never relate. I don't know. I don't. Y'all keep trying to play oppression Olympics. And first of all, the fact that you grew up like that, or you go back home to people that live like that, we can never relate. And it seems like y'all have some resentment, envy, and jealousy because we didn't have to struggle and get it through the mud like that because our ancestors didn't flee. They fought. They fought and they paved the way. And y'all keep talking about public assistance. We pay into that system. When you have a social security card, when you have a birth certificate, you automatically have a trust in this country, dear. We pay into that system. We pay taxes. We pay taxes on everything that we purchase. Y'all act like you all's countries don't get U.S. aid. Y'all literally get welfare from the United States of America. This just goes over everybody's head. You all get severance packages from other countries. Just because your government officials and the people that look like you, your same hue of complexion, is not allocating the funds correctly and they're selling you out literally and figuratively, does not mean that your countries are not receiving aid. Let's start there. Second of all, the only reason why you're able to come here and get opportunities is because Black Americans paved the way. They set up a table. All you had to do was come in and sit down. You didn't have to do no hard work. So y'all keep coming here talking about y'all work so hard. If you are such a hard worker, why is you not popping off in Jamaica? Why your country not popping off? Since y'all work so hard. Y'all have a whole landmass that's literally predominantly you. You're not living next door to people that's trying to oppress you and that's trying to attack you, redline you, and unalive you at every given chance. You're not living right next door to that. Well, now some of y'all kind of by choice, because y'all have allowed the colonizers, the Indian and the Chinaman, to come in and buy up all your beaches, so you can't even, y'all out there protesting now, and y'all are trying to get CARICOM right now, trying to get reparations right now. The nerve. Y'all act like y'all come here, oh, they're all buying jets. Baby, the top 10% of y'all that come here, because it takes a lot to get off those islands, I will give you that. So that's what makes you have the superiority complex. It takes a lot. So when y'all get here, y'all are like the top 10% of the Jamaicans and of the people on your island, right? So compare yourself to the top 10% earners of Black Americans. You're getting obliterated. Stop comparing yourself to people that's bottom class, bottom tier. Stop that. Me and my friends, I'm still whatever. One of my friends is a fucking millionaire. My aunt is a millionaire. My uncle is a millionaire. I probably shouldn't be saying this on the internet, but this is like real life. This is real life. I have millionaires in my family. I have best friends that have got a big bag. I'm still getting to it because I'm a little unconventional, child. I'm doing it a different type of. But we gonna get where we got to go. But at the end of the day, to lie and make it seem like y'all all are just up. No, I order Uber Eats and y'all be delivering the Uber Eats. Y'all be outside selling the incense. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but stop making it seem like y'all all got fighter jets and y'all all is driving in the Benz and the G-Wagon. My mother, they pushing my brother. They got a Benz and a BMW. Like, these are not things that's so like, oh my God, I'm so much better than everybody else because I got this. We don't even think like that. And so what if we're on public assistance, bitch? We fucking should be. We earned it, not you. It's a whole lot more immigrants that's getting food stamps and Medicaid and all types of stuff. And y'all literally come here with the refugee package and y'all get all types of help. Y'all get all types of grants, all types of loans, and y'all be scamming. First of all, stop comparing yourself. You're not comparing apples to apples. Let me let a non-Black American tell you better than I could. Be right back.
Easy going to compare like with like. You have to compare the top 10% of Caribbeans and the top 10% of African Americans. Mm-hmm. Okay. And when a country like Jamaica or Africa, where they too have had their deprivations, had their colonialism, had their slavery, why do they go somewhere and tend to excel amongst people who also have gone through it? Because you're not comparing like with like, that's why. Okay. A lot of us think we are comparing like with like.
You're not.
Let me explain. Generally speaking, Caribbeans in America, not the ones in the Caribbean, but the ones in America, will represent the top 10%. I see. So if you're really going to compare like with like, you have to compare the top 10% of Caribbeans with the top 10% of African Americans. Okay. And when you compare the two, the African Americans are slaughtering us, bro.
Oh, stop comparing your top 10% with our bottom 10%. Take 1 million of you and compare it to 1 million of us, the top 10%. Now, if you want to compare to the average working person, compare your average to the average. The average immigrant that come over here is literally selling incense, might be outside grilling up some jerk chicken, selling food platters, selling, shea butter on the street, selling body oils, doing Uber Eats. Like, stop acting. Come on, bro. Anyway, spread love, Mr. Brooklyn Lane.
Yes, everything you said in this comment was correct, and I don't think some Caribbean people understand that Black American culture does not place classism and materialism as high as they do, and this is because of our historical differences. Okay, Black America can have something, but we can rock with the guttermost to the uttermost in our culture. We can go somewhere like who is it? What's his name? What's the young guy's name? I Show Speed. He goes over to Africa and he can go from the top to the he can hang out with whoever he want to hang out with. But that's our frame of mind. Somebody else said that. I think it was Kendrick Lamar, and people were talking about how he just went and just got with the people because that's Black America. And we didn't go over there talking about we're of this class, and then start talking down to people who don't have as much. You know what I'm saying? That's not what we do. That's not even how we ride. Moms will slap us in our freaking faces because we raised differently. Our culture brought us up differently. You know what I'm saying? Our God raised us differently. Ain't no way in the world, because most of us grew up in the church. You know what I'm saying? And we not gonna sit up there and I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like, you don't talk down to folk who have less than you, even though you have. You see what I'm saying? And so that classism thing, it's not, even though there are different classes in Black America, we don't make it so known. Like, she was like, I know somebody with a jet. And I said in the video, I know somebody with a jet. I knew a couple people that had jets. It wasn't something that I ran out and told them, oh my gosh, he got a jet. Like, that happens. It's normal. You know what I'm saying? It's normal. Having cars are normal. Having homes are normal. Having money is normal. These are normal things, and I'm not quite sure when they get to the United States of America, they get excited about it. I'm not quite sure when they get to America, they get so excited about the junk until they start to try to create the same classism that they came from to where they didn't have. And now that they do have, now they try to sit themselves up on some pedestal and then talk about how lowly other people are. It's really odd to me. But what they don't understand is the collective village mentality is real in Black America. Meaning, if I see my brother over here and some of them, even if I don't care how wealthy I am, if I see my brother over there, my brothers over there, and they're like, oh, they don't have much, but they trying, that's us. That means we trying. It doesn't mean that I'm broke necessarily. It doesn't mean that I don't have any money, but that means we trying. That means I got to figure out what's going on over here. And we got to try to figure out how to get them to a better place. Same thing. Black America has done this globally, which is why, and I mentioned in that video, why scholarships and stuff. I know someone who came directly from an African country, came over here back in the 60s or something like that on a scholarship. Okay, provided by Black America. So we're not going. She's on here acting like, I know Black Americans to this day that's paying for people to go to school over in places that where people can't go to school, can't afford to go to school, and we're paying for it. But Black America doesn't get on here and make some false. Oh, look, I'm paying for y'all. I'm doing this. Look, why can't y'all? Why can't y'all? We are not saying why God, all this weird stuff, and we don't even live in these places, but we tend to do our outreach. Okay, and then when we do our outreach and then somebody comes over here and they finally get themselves some money, it's weird to me how they forget how they forget where they came from. When I say that, they don't ever go back. They don't ever go back. And I'm gonna tell you, when Black America back when we were building this country, when we had to go out of this country, we would come back and institute what we needed to do to further us as a collective. We didn't just spend our money on Benzes, quote unquote, or we just gonna do this so we can look high and mighty, because classism, having a higher status, didn't mean as much. Even our Black aristocracy here in the United States of America, when they had it, even though they were kind of separated by wealth, they still went back inside the Black community and said, this is what we need to do for the rest of them, so the rest of them can come up with us. Because everybody had this point. Even in Jamaica, they had a point where everybody needed to help each other. I'm not quite sure where that collective mindset went. Okay, but to get to be talking about oh, what you got, and when Jamaica, you claim to be Jamaican, and you talking about what you got, and how many Benzes y'all done bought and all this other kind of stuff, as if y'all the only people with Benzes. You know, it's weird, right? But you won't utilize that money to go over there and say, hey, let me make a difference. Because I just saw a whole bunch of people over in Jamaica where you're a citizen, you can just fly on over there and do your thing. You're talking about, well, I'm here in America and that doesn't make no sense. It's stupid. And I'm not gonna say, let me take stupid back. It's the way they see life is different from Black America. Black America is more village. We're not succeeding unless we're all succeeding. Whereas they see, look what I got. Oh, look what you don't have. And that's what they're trying to replicate here in the United States of America, and they're using Black America to do it because that's what they're used to, that classism mentality in their countries. Yes,
And Black American people, can y'all please stop talking about what the white man is doing to hold y'all down? I got friends who couldn't afford tissue growing up, so they used to go in the bush and use a leaf to wipe their doo-doo, their shit. Where are they from? Country, Jamaica. And all of them just bought their girl Benzes this year. Wait, I don't know if all of them was wiping their doo-doo with leaf, but all of them came from nothing and all of them got their girls' Benzes this year. And it's not about the Benz or the bags. The point is, life in other countries is harder than it is in America. Immigrants come here and have it harder than you as an American, and they still make it happen. They buy more land than you, and they don't even go here. They're not from here. And you still talk about what got taken from you during slavery? I know Grabberleaf owns a jet, a man that is not from...
Are we like the gold standard for what everybody compares themselves to? Like, is your whole hustle and grind centered around being able to one-up Black Americans? And why are the only Black Americans that you know that are in your circle that you talk to bottom of the barrel complaining about slavery, white supremacy, not doing anything, not buying businesses, not owning businesses? Like, why is those the only type of Black people that you know? I look at, like, if your circle of friends or your circle of whoever you associate with is on the bottom, that tells me about who you are, because birds of a feather flock together. I mean, kudos to you if you getting money out here as long as it's legit and you ain't out here scamming, which, I mean, at this point, who knows? But I'm going to be real with you. The bigger flex would be if Jamaica was a place that everybody wanted to flock to. Like outside of the resort towns that are all owned by wealthy white corporations. If actual Jamaica, like where you're from, where, you know, where y'all got to wipe at your ass with leaves, if you was to actually go down there and make that and build infrastructure, and then that's the real flex. That's when you would be like, hey, look, we did this shit. We ain't no outsiders, ain't no white man, ain't no nothing. We built this shit up to a paradise by ourselves. That would be the real flex. But for you to come over here and try to flex on Black Americans after having to leave your shithole nation that none of y'all can build up, and then come over here and talk down on us, not even knowing everybody's situation is different. Like, yeah, some Black Americans that got a lot of money. It's some who ain't doing it. Some people are lazy. It's all the scale and spectrum is all over the place. But don't try to put us all in the box and basically make it seem like all us Jamaicans, we all out here rich and we doing it and we driving ugly pink Benzes, and all of you Black Americans is just complaining and y'all not buying land and we doing it better than you. Fall back, sis. Just you're not gonna win this one, so fall back.
This is not bullying or harassment. This video is for educational purposes only. Something I've noticed on this app is that a lot of non-Black people love to call us having the victim mentality or playing the victim when they see us speaking out about racial inequality, racism, and injustices that occur to our community. So I thought I'd break this down for us. What is a victim mentality? Victim mentality is an acquired personality trait where a person considers themselves a victim of the negative actions.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great from wherever you're watching me from. Now, what you need to understand is that when a Jamaican American woman tells Black people to stop complaining and stop blaming white people for holding them down, this statement represents something. It presents itself as a tough love or personal responsibility. On the surface, it suggests that success is simply a matter of mindset, effort, and discipline. However, this is the catch. What this framing overlooks is the historical and structural context that shapes Black life in America. It reduces a deeply complex systems of inequality into an individual attitude problem, ignoring how power, policy, and history continue to influence outcomes. So this issue is not that personal responsibility is irrelevant, but that it is being weaponized to dismiss legitimate structural critique. I hope you get that, right? So one key reason this perspective needs schooling, especially some of us who don't really understand the struggles that Black Americans went through. I'll admit, at least for me, I've tried looking into this, but I'm speaking of majority of all these immigrants, Africans, I mean, name all of them, right? They need this schooling because schooling is that the experience of many Black immigrants is not the same as the experience of many Black Americans whose families were enslaved and later subjected to Jim Crow, redlining, and mass incarceration. So immigrants often arrived by choice through selective systems that favor education, skills, or resources, and they do not carry the same inherited disadvantages produced by centuries of racial exclusion. And so, applying immigrant success narratives to Black Americans without acknowledging these differences, understand that this creates a false comparison. It assumes everyone started from the same position, which is historically untrue, and that is the meritocratic lie. The meritocratic lie states that everyone is situated at the same position and we are moving at the same distance and at the same magnitude and at the same speed. But what it doesn't see the structural barriers. The structural barriers that were put to Black people. The structural barriers that are hindering Black people. So when she is speaking, she's not speaking from a genuine same position as of black people. So that's all you need to understand. And that's how all this has been always been played. And you understand how difficult this could be for black Americans, because anytime an immigrant comes to the United States, they are always paired against, they are always compared, right? So the stop complaining and work harder, this is not a phrase that we're hearing for the first time. In fact, black people are always told that pull yourself by the bootstraps. So this argument resets heavily on the myth of meritocracy. The idea that rewards effort fairly and consistently. While in reality, black Americans have historically worked extraordinarily hard under conditions that denied them fair pay, legal protection, or access to opportunity. So from slavery to sharecropping to discriminatory labor markets, hard work did not translate into security or wealth. And even today, evidence shows disparities in hiring, pay, housing, healthcare, and policing that cannot be explained by effort alone. So ignoring these realities turns meritocracy into a moral story rather than an accurate description of how society functions. So I hope you get to understand how that works. And another thing to address is that when black Americans speak about systemic racism, it is often framed as victimhood or excuse making. So this framing misunderstood what systemic critique actually is. It is not a rejection of agency, but an analysis of the conditions under which agency operates. So complaining in this context is not emotional venting. It's a political diagnosis. Throughout American history, progress has only occurred because people identified structural problems and demanded change. Labeling this process as complaining delegitimizes political engagement and protects unjust systems from scrutiny. And also, statements like these can also, reflect internalized narratives about respectability and acceptance. Respectability politics suggests that if black people behave properly, avoid criticism, and emphasize individual success, they will be rewarded with fairness and respect. Historically, this strategy has failed because black Americans who followed every rule were still segregated, they were still excluded and punished at the same time. So when someone repeats the same ideas, they believe they are offering empowerment, but in practice, they are enforcing standards that have never guaranteed justice. And this is why such views often need to be challenged rather than celebrated. And another problem with this perspective is that it erases the role of black Americans, which have played in expanding rights for everyone. Remember that civil rights laws, voting expectation, labor reforms, anti-discrimination policies exist because of black Americans complained, protested, organized, and resisted. So these gains did not come from silence or individual asshole alone. These gains came from collective struggle against white-dominated systems of power. So to criticize black Americans for naming injustice is to benefit from the fruits of that struggle while denying its necessity. So saying that this woman needs to be schooled does not mean attacking her character or identity. It means expanding the analysis beyond personal experiences, individual success stories, whether immigrant or native born, do not invalidate structural realities. So schooling in this sense is about historical literacy, understanding racial capitalism, and recognizing how different black populations are positioned within American power structures. So without this grounding, commentary risks becoming harmful even if it is delivered with good intentions. So that's one thing that needs to be understood. So brothers and sisters, please let me know what you feel and think about this video. But until then, let me see you in my next video. Peace, love, and harmony. Salute.